Hello again. Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. I'm just going to begin now. I think one more person has joined, so that's good. And let us get on with it. All right, so today's topic is how AutoCAD Electrical can make schematic and panel layouts easier. All right, and this is basically going to be a general overview of what tools are available for you in the AutoCAD Electrical subset. Because as you know, with AutoCAD 1, you get all the different versions of AutoCAD. And if you're not making use of AutoCAD Electrical as a product, here might be some reasons to start using it. Okay, so let's just discuss our agenda for today. We're going to do a just short introduction about what we're going to talk about. We're going to explain the AutoCAD Electrical workflow in case some people are confused by it, and I have seen a few of my customers being very confused by it. Just not even sure where to begin or where to start, or even what basic tools mean on the ribbon above. Okay, so we're just going to touch on that. Then we're going to take a look at the benefits of each one, and we're going to do a little bit of a hands-on demonstration where I can actually show you what it looks like. It's all nice to talk about it, but sometimes to see it in action is a little bit more clearer. Okay, and then we're going to discuss the main theme of this webinar, which is panel and schematic layouts. And we're going to close it off with some discussion, and we will answer your questions. Also, feel free to type in any of your questions you have during the course of this webinar. I will try and answer them as we go along, but if not, we can always wait till the end and I can answer them at that time. Okay, I'll also leave you with my contact details so that if you do want to get in touch with us as a company, Micrographics, you can also just email me and you will see that in the very last line. Okay, so just a little bit about me. My name is Irshad Hanif. I'm an application engineer with Micrographics, primarily in the manufacturing workspace. I come from a mechanical engineering background. I have about 8 years experience in industry, and the past 2 years I've been working with the Autodesk channel as an application engineer. And my experience primarily resides with AutoCAD, Inventor, Fusion 360, and of course in AutoCAD, like I was saying, all the different variants of AutoCAD with varying degrees of strengths. Okay, so this obviously begs the question, why should one be using AutoCAD Electrical? Okay, well, with AutoCAD Electrical, you have a couple of main points that I try to put in bold text on the top there. You can see each heading, and some of the main topics, or some of the main reasons rather, why you would be using AutoCAD Electrical would be for the schematic design tools, for the panel layout tools, for documentation, or electrical controls. And you can see within each of these subset of these headings that I put up here, they have very many benefits to them. For example, Y numbering, easy reuse of certain circuits. You have real-time error checking for loose and unused wires or components. For documentation, which can be very important, you have report generation, management of projects, and PDF publishing. All these things can take a lot of time if you're doing it using AutoCAD alone. But if you use AutoCAD Electrical, the specific subset, it's going to make it much, much easier. Okay. And just to note that the first heading and the last heading, schematic design tools and panel layout tools, are kind of linked because you're going to have a schematic layout for your electrical design, and you're going to have a panel layout that shows out the physical display of what's going to be in the control cabinet or for your design. Okay, and we will discuss all of that in detail as we go through the webinar. Okay, so just to explain the workflow in AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, we work with what's called project databases. So you can see on the left here, we have, for example, in their one, they have WD demo. Okay, and in that you can have multiple subfolders, and WD demo in this case is the project. In this case, it's the active project. We'll discuss what that specifically means, but basically all the drawings that go inside that project are kind of linked. You will come across the terms drawing wide and project wide. This is a easy way of indicating whether a tag or reference exists in the particular drawing that you're working with or in the entire project. In this case, what we're looking at, WD demo will be the entire project that it can search in. Okay. Then if you look on the right, I have just singled out the ribbons, or the tabs rather, schematics tab and panel tab. Like I said, they are linked and they can be very useful because these are the menus where you'd actually insert your library components. So those are basically, remember, we have a, a huge catalog in AutoCAD Electrical of all electrical components, and that will be dropped in from the icon menu. So you will find both icon menus, or you'll find an icon menu in the schematic tab and the panel tab, and there's obviously a difference between the two. And we will go through these in more detail in the next few slides. Okay, the next thing you need to know about working with the project is that you will see a preview of each of your drawings inside the folder in your projects folder on your left-hand side. Okay, and drawings can be saved in an active project. Okay, with meaning that each time you create a new drawing, they will go in the current active project, the one that's bold on the top there that you see in your panel pane. Okay, this means it will create a sort of database linking all the tags and all the references, and you can use the surf tool to surf within a drawing or within the project itself. So that can really help you identify maybe a cable or reference along the way. So sometimes you will have thousands and thousands of placements, and to find just one component or reference where it's linked to, you'll have to go and really dig. But the surf tool makes that a little bit easier. Okay, and then when you're working with electrical design tools, you're gonna start inserting primarily in your schematics tab, bus terminal wires. You can insert components from your catalog. You can create ladders. You can create rungs. You can basically customize everything per drawing or per project. So that's important to know about how the setup works for your AutoCAD work. So let us just do a quick demonstration, and I will switch screens to my AutoCAD Electrical so that you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to share my AutoCAD Electrical. I hope you can see that clearly. So, okay, so in AutoCAD Electrical, like I was saying, up here is your projects pane. This is your project manager, and every time you see a little folder here, that is a project. So I can right click and I can activate a different project, and the next time I create a new drawing, all my drawings will go under there. That is my current active project. You can see the text is bold and it's highlighted, or it's moved rather, right up to the top. So I've just created one as an example. I've called it AutoCAD webinar, and I've created two folders, subfolders in there, so that I can have some schematic drawings and some panel drawings. Okay, so for example, I have a schematic drawing here. Okay, now if you don't see this project manager, I've had a few customers ask me this. Well, what's the use of AutoCAD Electrical? It looks exactly the same as AutoCAD to me. It turns out that they would have been in the wrong workspace. So if you look down here in your workspaces, you've got to be in the AutoCAD Electrical workspace for you to see this menu. Just for illustration purposes, let me just show you what happens if you're in the wrong workspace. For example, my customer was in the 2D drafting annotation tab, right? He was here, and all he saw was this, which was very similar to regular AutoCAD, and he couldn't figure out how exactly AutoCAD Electrical was different or how it was going to help him. And after I showed him that you could be in here, where you actually have the tools, and now you'll see your schematic, your panel tab, and everything coming along, as well as your project manager, that makes a big difference. So just a note there, make sure you are in the correct workspace. Okay. Right. So with your projects, you can create new drawings. You can add drawings from other projects. So you can maybe copy to, and it will ask you to find that other folder or project folder where you want to place it into. So for example, I can go and place it in there, and I can save it as demo2 and say, yes, I will apply the default project values to that new drawing now, because remember, these projects have specific properties that apply to all drawings within them. For example, they have certain libraries where it pulls catalog data out from for both the schematic and the panel footprint. So you can change these. Remember, these are where it gets all the basically your contactors or your switches or your motors or what have you, right? This setup is the most important thing when you want to use catalog data. If this is not correct, you're going to find a lot of missing files, and sometimes it even happens to me as well. So I've just got to check that the project that I'm working with has the correct data. Okay, if you're not sure where it is, you can always just ask where the correct location, and we can try and help you find them. Okay, now if you want to install a specific library or a specific set of catalog data and you don't find it in here, you probably want to go to your Windows installation package, and I think it's going to be programs and features. So I think you can go to your control panel like so, and you get programs and features. Obviously, you go to close AutoCAD Electrical in the background. You will go to your AutoCAD Electrical. You will say change, and it will give you the option to go ahead. Let me click it and see if I can show you what it does. Okay, you can say add remove features. Okay, and here you will find all the manufacturer catalog data. So for example, I have these ones installed. You'll notice they say there that it's not recommended to select all because this is pretty big. And if you don't have certain need for most of these, rather not install them. Just install the ones that you need. Okay. So I'm just going to cancel that process, but that is where you would find the data for all your catalogs. Okay. So that's basically the workflow that we use when working with AutoCAD Electrical. Okay, let's continue. We'll move on to the next slide. I'm just going to switch screens so we can go back to the presentation. Okay. Now, let's discuss AutoCAD Electrical Schematic. So the Schematic tab, we want to talk about referencing systems. So your tags, your wire numbers, or rather just your tags and your references. Okay, we're going to talk about components and what they are really. Because remember, you can sort of do this using AutoCAD, but it's not the most efficient way to do it. It's best to use AutoCAD Electrical. Then we're going to talk about wiring and wire numbers, how AutoCAD Electrical handles those. Then we're going to talk about cross-referencing, and you have what's called parent and child components. So things can be linked within a circuit, or within a drawing, or within a project. So it's quite versatile. Then we're going to discuss source and destination signals. So, and there's also a little feature in there that's called drawing audit. Okay, so let's have a little demonstration of those topics. So again, I'm going to switch back to my AutoCAD Electrical screen. Okay, so let's discuss referencing. So in AutoCAD Electrical, there are three types of referencing system. There's XY. So let's just show you. If I go into a schematic drawing, let's say the one that I currently have open, and I go to properties and I go to drawing properties, you go to drawing format. There's three main types of referencing. There's XY grid. So for your ladder, you can have a letter and a number XY type grid. X zones, or you can have reference numbers. Here, you will have a number next to each rung on the ladder. So for example, you can have your ladder vertical or horizontal. You can see in the background, I've already added a ladder in here. But basically, you'll be able to define the spacing and the sequential input of those numbers. Okay, so those are the three main types of referencing. Okay, so for example, if I were to draw a ladder based on that, it's going to give me, okay, let's just draw it like so. See, it will make a ladder there for me, and it will automatically populate with the next sequence of numbers. So for example, if this one ended at 18 and I started a new ladder, it knows that it needs to start at 19 because it keeps track of all the referencing format for me to start drawing my circuit. Okay. Okay, the next thing we need to discuss is components. So how can these components help us? So if you look at your schematic tab, you have these little, in the components or insert components section here, you've got icon menu. You can insert from directly from the catalog or simply from the catalog browser. So I'm just going to use the icon menu button, okay, and it will take you to this insert component where you can insert, for example, a basic relay. Let's do something like this. Okay, and you'll notice as I snap it in, it cuts off the wire and it gives it a tag. It gives me this little window here to enter a description, for example, relay 1. I'm just going to enter some text in there and I can say, okay. You'll notice that it immediately puts a tag and a reference for me there. Okay, so that text, you can go and edit. A lot of people ask me this question, how do I edit the size? My scales have been messed up. You can set the size manually for your attribute size. The button to set attribute size is, or set the lay is in here, where you can, it should be change attribute size globally. But if you want to change it specifically on maybe that one, you can go here and go attributes and change attribute size. Okay. Right. The next thing we need to discuss about components. Well, what are they basically? They're basically AutoCAD blocks that have basically infused data with them. So for example, when I inserted that, that relay, let me just show you with another component. Okay, I will use a push button as an example. When I inserted this component, it's just a block that it has stored in the catalog database, but it has all of this data set associated with it, which makes it much more efficient for tracing. So as well as descriptions, it would automatically put in a tag, right? It automatically, you can look up data from your catalog. So remember, we discussed that catalog when we went to programs and features. You can look it up from those installed. The window's gone on the other side. Let me just bring it here. So you saw there that I had, for example, the AB and ABB and Schneider catalogs. So it will find all of those for me. So I can search for example, Schneider. I don't know if there's going to be any. Well, there's something like this. But whatever catalogs you have installed, you'll be able to look it up and say, okay, I want to use that one. It will fill that information for you. And that push button now has, okay, you can say map it catalog. So now that has all of that information attached to it. Of course, that didn't want to take nicely, but if I choose a proper one, let me just choose. Okay, let's use that one. Let's say okay. Okay, so now that has all of that data attached to it, and it can find it and it can be a reference. So you can give it a little name and a little description. You can say push button 1, red plastic, as an example. So it'll give you a little tag and a little reference or descriptor rather for that component. Okay, you also have different types of symbols have different types of attributes. So for example, you have, let's look at our motors. Under motors, you will have parent and child components as an example. So I will see if I look at let's look at motors. Over here, that will be a child component, right? And you'll see, you'll get a little button here. It's quite different from the menu that we just saw. So you can say that this child component comes from, or it has a parent that is maybe this motor. and it will automatically take the tags from there. So you see that one was named hydraulic motor. It will automatically take those descriptions and those tags from their M1 hydraulic motor and it will attach it to this one. So that is an example of a child component. Okay. Okay, so devices that require separate contact symbols are inserted as a parent and inserted as a child. So you can do it the other way as well. So basically, if I were inserting a motor and I want to reference its child, I would basically do the other way. So just to show you, you can have like that. Right, so I can have that inserted there. And I'll take a look at this one. Rather, let me just press escape. So edit component. I'll now map it to this one here. Say okay. So it will take that little reference from there. Okay. Okay, what is the next thing? So yeah, they will get a unique tag. We've discussed lookup as well. So that's another feature. So like I said, your catalogs, make sure you have them correctly installed. The next thing we need to discuss is if we look at our PowerPoints. Let's go look at our PowerPoint. We were discussing wiring and wire numbers. So let's just take a look at wiring and wire numbers in AutoCAD Electrical. So if I have some wires, you can insert a ladder with the current default wire that you have selected, but the tool to edit wire types lies here. So it has this little wire with a pencil icon, and you can create any wire size, any wire description, and you can also import a list from existing drawings. So it doesn't necessarily mean that each new drawing or each new project that you do will have to start all over again, naming the wires that you use. You can also import from a specific drawing. So you'll ask you to bring in this little window and you can say, okay, I want to import it from this drawing or that drawing that has this kind of. So it will take some time and it will pull out, okay, these were all the wires that I found in there. And you can say, okay. And there's also a little option there to override. So you can pull them in here and you can see it's done that. So for example, I can say, right, make this one my default wire. Now, when you're using the ladders, remember this is one set of interconnected circuitry. So even though I've selected a different wire as my default, if I make a wire from here, notice that it is going to be yellow, right? It's going to add my connection points. It's going to add gaps, but it is going to be yellow because, well, this wire is joining from this circuit, so it's going to be, it's going to automatically adapt the current wire that it's being used. However, if I draw this, it's going to be red because I've selected my red 6mm wire as my current default wire in here. Okay, so you can go in and you can add something in here. You can get to the bottom. You can add in a new wire name. So let's say 16, like that. It gives it automatically a layer name, right, based on some layer format. So you can change it around. You can put percentage number, percentage color, and then percentage diameter. So it depends. You can arrange these, but if not, you can just manually go and name it there. You can add in whatever you want. So I can do test here, and you can give it your layer name. Right. So we can say, I can pick my color. So I will say, I'll make it a light blue, and I'll mark that. You can also go in and remove any layer. Remember, these are just as per AutoCAD layers. So you can also block them in the Home tab if you don't want to see a certain set of layers. Okay. So if I want to add a wire, I can go in here and I can or rather I shouldn't actually join it. You see now that it's using the blue. Okay. I can also add multiple bus wires to a component. So for example, if I have, or rather I can put in a bus, I can make it join off another set of wires. So for example, it will join another set of wires like so. So I can select that one and I can say go down. You can see what it's doing. It's automatically creating a staggered connection point, which will help me easily create a set of 3 wires, for example, for a 3-phase type of component. Or maybe I just want 3 wires there. We can also do that quite easily because I use the multiple bus with attaching to an existing bus. I can do it from empty space, for example, just going horizontal, and again it will revert to blue because that was my default wire. Okay. The next thing we can discuss in our slide is cross-referencing. So let's just look at where we are in our slide. We will be discussing cross-referencing. Okay. So if we look at cross-referencing, that's all about having your tags being referenced from one place to the next. Just want to see where I've saved those things there. Okay, so if you look at your drawing properties, by the way, those formats, those styles, the connection points can be changed from here. So for example, what I was talking about there, these circular connection points, the style can be changed from loop or solid or gap, for example, if you prefer. I prefer the loop, and same here with the connection for joints. Okay, I prefer dot as well. Okay, if you look at your properties, either in the drawing properties or in the project properties, remember we said the project will apply them to all the drawings inside here. We've got cross-reference styles. We have 3 types. We've got text format, we've got graphical format, and table format. Okay, so you'll find them in, let us do a small setup. So you can see what your table of cross-referencing will look like when you do place it. Okay, so you can customize each of these things here. If I look at that, this is the graphical format. It gives you a little preview of how it looks in here. And this is just the text format where you just have a line of text detailing all the oops, I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Let me go through that again. I do apologize. I forgot to switch screen. All right. So what I was saying was that we were discussing cross-referencing. And if you look at your properties in either the project or in each of the drawing, you can look at here, you'll have a cross-referencing tab. Okay. Okay. Can everyone see, by the way? I can see my preview is correct now. Thank you. Okay. So like I was saying, you have your cross-referencing tab. Even if I go to the drawing, it exists here as well. And you basically have your text format, graphical format, or table format for your cross-referencing design. So let us look at how they look. So if I choose text format, this is what I get. Graphical format, this is what it looks like, and table format, and this is what I get. Okay, so basically that will reply to the child and parent components that we have. So we can go to our let me just go to my schematic. I'm just looking for what. So we can say retake component. I just want to check everything's okay there. All right. Okay, we've discussed wires. We've discussed that. Okay, source destination arrows. So I'm sure you guys know that when you're doing complex drawings, you're going to have one end here that's going to, okay, let's say, for example, this end of the wire. We can create a source arrow. You can either right click on it and say, I want to make a source destination. I'll say, let's make a source and I'll call it source one. Okay, I'll say red. Okay, and you can find either that it goes within the drawing or within the project. So I'm just going to say within the drawing just to show you what it does. Okay, it'll ask you immediately, do you want to find the destination arrow now? For example, you could do this one drawing and then maybe have the destination point to another drawing. So let's say no, and then you can say, right, I actually want it to join to this end of the circuit here. So I can either right click and say source destination arrow, or they've got the button on top here to say destination arrow, and I'll click on that point and say, okay, right, that must be my destination, and I can pick any point from here, right? And I can say, right, that's going to be my, say yes, the wires do not match. So you see, we're bringing in from a 6 or a red 18 AWG, and it can detect that the wire type has changed. So do you want to update the destination wire, which means this one? Do you want to update it? You can say yes. So all will come red because it must have some sort of continuity. Okay. So that's a really nice feature. You can also do this drawing wide. So you can also have a place here where you can say, right, I want to have a source destination, so destination arrow, and so you can view on the entire project. So remember I said you can have a drawing wide, project wide, or maybe just pick from the recent. I'm going to go project wide, so I can pick. You'll see it'll give you this list here, right? And remember here, I named this from my reference 18 source one, and I named it just red. So I can pick that one to be a source for my destination here. So it's coming from that drawing. Quite simple and quite handy. Okay. So all of that will be linked when you pull it on to the next place where you go to your panel layout. Okay. All right. Let's just go to our the next thing we have. Okay, I don't need to show you, or should I rather just show you? The last thing on this slide is the drawing audit. So you can see the last point there. So you'll find that under reports tab, and it's basically a way to the drawing audit is basically a report where you can fix wire related issues on your schematic only. Okay, so I don't know where the window's gone to. Ah, there we go. So you can do a audit on the active drawing or the entire project. Let's do the entire project. There's not many drawings in here. And it will find basically all the wire gap pointers, bogus wire numbers, and all color gauge pointers, zero length wires where there's actually a wire but it's got no length attached to it, or wire number floaters where there's a random number that doesn't really correspond to any wire specifically. We can say, since I've clicked project, it's going to tell me all the drawings that exist on this project and which ones I want to do. Let's say do all. Okay, I'll say okay. Just asking me to save. So it's going to do all of them. Luckily, there weren't too many. There was just 4 or 5 drawings. So you can see it's just passing through all of them. Right. And it should give me, I hope not too many errors, but it should give me a substantial list. I'm just going to wait for it. All right. Oh, maybe I should not have clicked project wide. Did the auto cure the wire gaps being still yellow? I don't know what happened. Something seems to have bombed out right now. Of course, it always does during a presentation. Something's taking too long there. But generally, it'll show you a list, yes, of the wire gaps still being yellow. It will order them by infraction, or it'll order them by seriousness. If I can just show you. Okay, so here's the little report that it generated. So it gives you, okay, let's see, on that drawing there, we want to look at the drawing that we were working with. No line entities found in there. It was schematic 1 that I had that. So no, it didn't cure those wire gaps. It just found 2 X-term connection attributes updated with wire values, so just something with the tags in there, I think. Okay. Okay, so that's basically the end of it from. Yeah, no, I get it. On my ladder, yes. Okay, so let's see here. We're talking about these still being yellow. Okay. I don't know why they're still yellow. That's a very strange. It usually supposed to change everything. I suspect it has something to do with the styles not being correct. Because during this demonstration, I was playing around with the styles and I did change them from hoop. So I suspect, but generally it will change the hoops, the loops, basically. Yeah, they're called loops, I think. Loops of these wires. It should change when it adapts a new wire type. I don't know why that still is that way. Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right, so we're going to move on. Okay, cool. We're going to move on to the, yeah, so we just did a demonstration for the schematic. We're going to look at AutoCAD Electrical panel layout, okay? So let's just look at our, I'm just trying to get my things in order here. Let's go back to our drawing. So like we said, the 2 most important tabs here are going to be your schematic tab and your panel tab. So on your panel tab, you can do panel drawings to show you exactly what they look like. Let's use an example. I'm going to make this my active project. Okay, so there's obviously some demo files in here that I can use to just show you what a panel layout would look like. If this is still, or is this just blank? Oh no, we can use this one. Okay, so these are very useful. So they can actually contain your DIN rails and your contactors and your leads and your lead outs. So your connectors, basically everything that you would need or that you would physically see in your enclosure. Okay, you can even add in specific sized enclosures. Okay, so for example, if I were adding stuff in here, right, I've now changed to this demo project. So forgive me if things don't work, but I can add in, for example, a DIN rail, right? I can actually give it a length, or I can pick the rail information. So I can maybe just match this, and I can say, right, I want to match that size. And you can pick in a rail again from your catalog. I'm just going to leave that one standard. I'll say okay. So it adds in a rail for me, and I can give it some codes and locations for how we can identify that rail. Okay. Now the nice thing about your panel layouts, okay, is like I said, the term project wide and drawing wide is going to come very commonplace. So we can pick components from our schematic drawings in here. So these are all our schematics. Let me just show you an example of one. A very simple schematics, but we can pick components from here to actually be relevant in our panel layout. So if I go to my icon menu and I insert from the schematic list, I can search the entire project, or I can search the active drawing if you want. But I'm going to search the project so that we can find from here, from our schematic, and I will say, okay. You can see it has a whole ton of drawings, but let's say I know the specific drawing that the part I want exists on. Okay, so maybe I want to, it's 009 as an example. I will find that here. 009, I will say just do that one. And it'll give me a list of all the components on that drawing so that I can pick them and place them. Okay, so it'll also bring in all the tags, installation codes, wire numbers, anything attached to that. So that's why it's very important as we were inserting components in our schematic from our catalog or from our icon menu. It's very important to make sure all your information makes sense. I mean, it'll tell you if there's a clash in there, but you must be able to identify it when you get to this part, okay? Because that's how you're going to be able to find it easily. Okay, so for example, I can say that one, and I can go manually insert. Okay, as predicted, I didn't have the library installed, so that's fine. But what I can do is I can also maybe manually insert it, right? And I can either look at it from my catalog, or I can maybe pick it from a non-AutoCAD block. So for example, if I have a block here, let's just try and add it to manufacturing. Let's just browse for something that I can use. So let's go here. It does find something in the catalog, but it's not going to allow me to place it. Okay, let's just go back to the project I was working on, because I'm not going to be able to show it to you on here. I'd rather do it on this project. So I've pre-prepared some panel here. So let's go here. Or rather, let's make a new drawing in here. So that's my new active project. I can say let's make a new drawing in that folder. It's going to be panel layout. I thought I did have one in there. Okay, so I can insert from my icon menu a little din rail first to begin with. So let's make it 50. Okay, so you'll see it'll add in a little din rail there for me. Okay, so I'm getting ready to basically place it. I can, of course, just move this to where I want. It did ask me in the beginning, but if I didn't get it right or if I forgot about it, I can always just go and move it to wherever I want to. But you can see that's my rail. Now I want to insert from my schematic list, which again is going to search. I'm going to say search the entire project. And I'm going to look for, let's just do all. I'll find something in here. Okay, let's just choose that one. I would say insert. And of course, the library doesn't exist. So let's just say manually I'm going to choose maybe a general something like that, just so we can have it attached to a block. Okay, and obviously if you want to rotate it, you know that you can right click and then you'll get the option to rotate. So I'm going to click rotate there. I'll enter 90 degrees that I need to rotate. I'll press enter. It'll rotate it by 90. Now I can fix it to wherever I want. So I can go here and say, right, I'm going to place it on that part of the DIN rail. You'll see it'll snip it neatly and place it as if it really were placed on the DIN rail. Okay, then when I press enter again, it will tell us, okay, it's bringing in those the references Q6 and whatever descriptions it has from the drawing where I brought it in from. Okay. Of course, the size is way out of whack. Like I said, not to worry, we can always edit the size either globally from the settings up there or here. So I just want to make it, 0.2 should be right. I'll say 0.2, right. And I just want to make that a little bit neater. And let's zoom in here and make that a little bit neater. So you can see that's bringing in all the information directly from your schematics panel. Okay. And of course, we have the little surf tool, which helps us identify things. So if you look up there, there's a little button. So we can maybe surf for this component. It'll tell us all the different installations where it is, and you can click on it. For example, I want to go there. I can say either that one. It tells you where the reference is. I can say go to that one. Just gonna ask me to save here. And then tell me exactly where it's coming from. It points me in the direction of the right one, which is why it can be very, very useful. Okay. So I think we basically covered everything that was on the slide for electrical panel. Any questions about panel drawings? Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, we are running short on time, but just some other topics to discuss. Other useful features when using AutoCAD Electrical. If in my next webinars, we might be doing circuit builder, symbol creator, and we're going to discuss in detail the report generator. Okay, like I said, this is out of the scope for this webinar because we just wanted to highlight the tools that make it easier for schematic and panel workflows. Okay, and also just discuss the general workflow for those who are lost or who have never used AutoCAD Electrical before. But yeah, that's these useful features. We'll actually do a separate webinar for it in the future if you guys are interested. So just pay attention to our Micrographics website and we will send out mailers and that sort of thing. So yeah, okay. Okay, we do have 10 minutes reserved for questions, but I'm going to give it 5 minutes. And if there's no questions, we will conclude this webinar. And I thank you again for joining us. And like I said, you can see on the last slide, my email address on the bottom there. You can just take it down. If maybe you think of something later, you're always welcome to contact us as application engineers. We'll be able to help you out, or maybe just come through and visit for some consulting. All right, I'm glad it was helpful. You're very welcome. Okay, I'm just going to give it 2 more minutes. Okay, I cannot see a username, but computer name SCSO7. Yeah, it perhaps is a subject for later. I'm not sure specifically what you're talking about, but maybe if you take down my email address on the screen, mail me directly with some pictures and we can discuss it offline. Thomas, yes. Cool. All right. Thank you guys again for joining, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye. You too. Bye-bye.